Donald Hackett is the Royal Australian Naval Gunner, qualified to operate the new 4.5-inch naval gun with which our newest ships are equipped. But less than a year ago, he was a recruit at Flinders Naval Depot, Victoria. There he met other young men from all parts of the Commonwealth, all recently arrived at Flinders and ready to embark on an 8 weeks training and disciplinary course as the first stage of their training, which will make them all specialists in different fields in the Royal Australian Navy. For Don, this day was something he'd always dreamed about. Very early in their training, naval recruits are brought face to face with the hazards of fire and water. All officers and men in the Royal Australian Navy are trained to use firefighting apparatus. The recruits are taught how to fight fire in the presence of electricity, which must be treated with great respect. Fire at sea can be disastrous, where it's not possible to call the fire brigade. So every sailor must be a fireman, trained in every aspect of shipboard firefighting. An oil fire in a ship demands special firefighting knowledge, and this is soon acquired during the damage control training course. This is firefighting in the truest sense. In an underground tank, various types of damage which will result in water pouring into a ship are simulated. A member of the Watertight Integrity Patrol discovers the damage and telephones for assistance from the fire and repair party. The damage simulated involves holding of the ship's side by bomb splinters, a split seam and a damaged water pipe. This course of training increases further the self-confidence of the recruits under difficult conditions and fits them to cope with almost any eventuality. The main purpose of the fire and repair party is to reduce the flow of water sufficiently for the pumps to cope with the leakage until the ship reaches the dockyard for repairs. Within 2 months, our recruits have completed their basic course. Already they feel they are part of the Navy, a service with a background of tradition that gets into a chap and makes him feel he really has an important place in the scheme of things. It's difficult to believe that a few short weeks ago, all these young men were civilians, some occupying jobs they didn't like, but all now imbued with the spirit of adventure, the sort of adventure to be found as a member of the Royal Australian Navy. Recruit Donald Hackett now embarks on the seamanship course, and surely no sailor would be worthy of the name if he was not an expert at rope work. In the seamanship school, Don is trained in every aspect of rope work and rigging, and accurately made models augment studies in the classroom. In the grounds of the Seamanship School, a model harbour gives a practical picture of harbour installations and their function. Many will be the occasions in the future when these young men may be called on to do a trick as helmsmen in one of Her Majesty's Australian naval ships. And they must know, too, how to let go an anchor. Classroom studies are supplemented by practical experience in training ships, doing the real thing. Every seaman recruit is trained in practical seamanship. Slipping and hoisting a boat is practiced aboard HMAS Castlemaine, now used as a training ship at Flinders Naval Depot. The ship, a former minesweeper, is berthed at the depot and is used for training purposes without being taken to sea. Pulling in whalers and sailing on Western Port Bay brings the recruits a first mild taste of the sea. Although they've come from widely separated parts of the world, Donald Hackett and his 3 roommates have become firm friends. Andre Oslins, for instance, was born in Latvia. Bill Campbell comes from Glasgow, and John Winters was born in Adelaide. Don is from Traralgon, Victoria. For most of the young recruits, it's the first time they've lived away from home, and they find their lives not bad at all. Good quality, well-planned meals, and above all, comradeship, one of the most important factors attracting young men to life in the services, all help the young sailor to adapt himself readily to his new and vitally interesting life. In an amenities block reserved for members of the recruit school, the men have the use of writing rooms and a well-stocked library. For many of these young men, This is the first opportunity they've had to improve themselves. But it's not all work at Flinders Naval Depot. There's time to play. In fact, it's compulsory for all men in training at the depot to participate in sport of some description each week. There is good-natured rivalry in all these events, which help to keep body and mind fit during this intensive training period. The depot has its own heated freshwater swimming pool for year-round swimming, and in summer there's an out-of-doors seawater pool available too. The depot has one of the finest picture theatres to be found anywhere in Australia, and the latest films offer entertainment of a quality that could not be surpassed. For some recruits, Flinders brings the spiritual world much closer to them than before. In the fine chapels of the base, services remind the men and women of the Royal Australian Navy of the tremendous value the philosophy of Christianity can have in their lives. There are 13 schools at Flinders Naval Depot, each one well equipped to train our sailors in a multitude of special skills. Don Hackett has completed his seamanship course and is now taking a specialist course in naval gunnery. In the gunnery school, he makes his first acquaintance with the practice 4-inch naval gun. This gunnery course will occupy about 9 weeks, and Don will emerge from it as a seaman gunner. At the Naval Gunnery Range at West Head, the lectures in the classroom and the experience gained with the practice guns are brought to a practical application. The guns at the range, including the Bofors light anti-aircraft gun. Live ammunition is used here. In the electrical school, the fundamentals of electricity, radio and radar, and the many applications in the Navy are studied. Andre Oslins, now naturalized Australian, has embarked on a specialist course in electricity and electronics. One of the earliest exercises in this course requires him to build a supraheterodyne broadcast receiver. Andre is receiving a background of experience that will qualify him to occupy an important role, handling the elaborate electronic equipment needed to operate a modern warship. Bill Campbell, a Scot from Glasgow, comes from a city famous for its shipbuilding and engineering. Engineering is in Bill's blood, and the Navy is giving him his first opportunity to fulfill his ambition. After making a simple spanner by hand, Bill is a little overawed by the precision of the machines to be found in a warship. This is a steam-driven ventilating fan. The steam turbine of a destroyer, a wonderful example of engineering skill. In the engine room of the Castlemaine, Bill Campbell has his first taste of the real thing. A naval gunnery target is lowered into the sea, preparatory to towing it across the waters fronting the West Head Gunnery Range. John Winters, the 4th member of the original group of recruits, is now taking an advanced seamanship course. Below decks, Bill Campbell is responsible for the powerful engines of the Sea Air Rescue boat, which will tow the target. At the West Head Range, Andre Oslins is a member of the team responsible for the accurate function of the radar-operated gun directing equipment. As the target comes within range, the crew of a 4-inch gun engages within seconds. Donald Hackett, now a seaman gunner, is working as a member of a team, the skill of which is dovetailing with the skills of many other specialist teams, all functioning with one important aim, the defense of Australia and our sea lanes, the disruption of which would make it impossible for us to sustain a war effort and would soon lead to a breakdown of our economy. Not for these young men, the dead-end job with its frustrations and lack of opportunity. We have good reason to be proud of these sailor specialists who are ready and qualified at this moment to defend the nation.